create milestones in our lives, and what better way to document these milestones than through books? Milestones, big or small, but they all hold a special place in our hearts. The accomplishments may be personal, such as graduating from school or getting a promotion at work, or they may be shared with others, such as getting married or even having a child. These books can serve as a reminder of the hard work and dedication that went into reaching that goal. They can capture the memories and emotions associated with it, and they can be cherished for years to come. No matter what the milestone is, capture it in a book.
Welcome, everyone. This is May 15, and we are celebrating Mental Health and Awareness Month. And this is Mental Health and Awareness Week, like in the UK. And it's also, we're doing the online launch of 3 books that foster mental health. And this topic is so important. So wherever you're joining from, if you're a friend of author Vivi Willie, you can let us know. You can drop your endorsements, comments in the chat. She is such a courageous woman. A friend of mine, Cheryl, I almost said Dr. Cheryl Garrick's Lloyd, because she's doing her PhD, says there is no good health without good mental health. And so I'm wearing green because green is the color for mental health month. And so for those joining, I am C. Ruth Taylor, CEO and founder of Bamboo Sparks Publishing and the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy. And this is being streamed live. So welcome, welcome one and all. It's not going to be a long evening. We're celebrating the launch of 3 books. Most time people launch just 1 book, but Mrs. Willie is launching all of 3 books. And so what we're going to do for this short and spicy program is that her friends and family, they are going to come on and convey their greetings. We're going to give you a synopsis of the books. We're going to play a little video for one of them. And so stay tuned. It should be a very enlightening evening. So what are the 3 books that are being launched this evening? Let's get into that. Let me introduce you to her first.
Books. 1. My Head is Not Well. Vivi Willie. Vivi is an author and a mental health and wellness advocate. And today, she is launching 3 books. 1. My Head is Not Well. A poetic memoir about my child molestation at the age of 4 and its lasting effects. 2. I Feel Like Leah. A novel about an unloved wife. And 3. Monsters Within. A true story of the author's battle with cancer and the lack of proper care because of the color of her skin. Vivi Willie.
All right, so let's welcome Vivi Willie to the stage just to say hi so the people can see our phenomenal author. 1 second, technical glitch. Okay, she should be big on the screen. Hi, Mrs. Willie, welcome.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you
so
for having me.
It's so good to have you. So 3 books, 1 time. I know it's not your time to give your little speech and everything, but what led you on this writing journey? Can you just give us a little synopsis about that first, and then we're going to bring on your friends and family to bring notes of congratulations and express any other thought that they want. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what started this was after I was diagnosed with cancer. I started feeling sad and feeling depressed. And I would ask myself, what is wrong with me? And I keep saying, what's wrong with me, God? What's wrong with me? And then one morning I said, my head is not well. And that is where it started. And then I started trying to figure out, why is my head not well? And then I started digging deeper. And then I found out it was because of the molestation. And so that's where it started.
Okay. Oops. Ah,
Introducing
1 second. Sorry about that. So, I understand. No, the Bible says that hope deferred makes the heart sick. And when I was doing a little research on that, it says that, for example, when our dreams are dashed or when things happen to us, it can lead to anxiety, depression, and even death. And as I reflected on your three books, Monsters Within, because you're dealing with a terminal illness, cancer, and you talk about early childhood molestation. Those are things that in Jamaica would say them something that mash up your head,
Yes.
your meds, and
Yeah.
we want to highlight that. For me, I've always struggled with anxiety and depression. I think I'm healed to a large extent. As a teenager, I remember writing on the wall at 10, I wish I wasn't born. And I had one suicide attempt. And so mental health issues, it is near and dear to me because where the mind goes, that's where the feet goes and everything. And so when I remember with my broken engagement, the second time, when you talk about I feel like Leah, second
Yes.
chance is not enough. When that thing happened, I was like, God, I just want to go to my bed and don't wake up. But God has a way of turning things around, and I was determined to uh, turn that negative thing into something glorious. And that is what gave birth to the publishing company, Bamboo Sparks, Extra Mile Innovators Limited, trading as Bamboo Sparks. It and so sometimes painful journeys can lead to beautiful destinations. And I think this is exactly what is happening here. As you analyze what was happening to you, you've become an author, and now you've created 3 books that will bless the world tremendously. And so I want to thank you for turning pain into purpose, and thank you for championing the cause of those who are going through struggles and need to be mentally healthy so that we can become all that God wants us to be. Anything you want
Yes.
to add to that before I bring on Catherine, your daughter, to tell you how proud she is of you as a mom, launching 3 books? In,
Yes. So I feel, that in spite of what happened to me, God did turn things around, because all I want to do right now is just write, is going back and writing about things that happened in my past. And this is to help others to see that, it's not the end. When
yes,
something negative happened, when trauma happened in our life, it is not the end. We turn to God, and God will turn things around even better than what, maybe your life would have been or my life would have been before. Because I never expected to be writing. There was no dream at all when I was growing up about me writing. And now
yes,
I wrote 3 books, and one more that you have that's editing, and another one that I have that I'm editing as well. So God has really
awesome.
turned things around in my life, and trying to help others to see that God can turn things around in their lives as well, even through depression and so forth, which we'll talk about in a little bit. He will turn things around for us, so we should not give up.
Amen. That's true. So endurance is not just, this is my favorite quote by theologian William Barclay. So I turned things around for me. Endurance is not just the ability to bear a hard thing, but to turn it into glory. All right, Miss Willie. So we're gonna get some endorsements now. Not seeing Catherine yet. So I am going to start with Dominique. That's a friend of yours. And then I'm going to go to Pamela. And uh, by that time, I think Catherine should be here. All right.
May throw obstacles in her path. Some obstacles may even be large enough to deter the mightiest of men. When I think of Vivine, the first word that comes to my mind is strength. The kind of quiet strength and resolve that draws you in, making you feel safe, protected, and at peace. When you're going through a difficult time or you're kind of in a funk, there's nothing like a friend who can sit with you and listen to you with no judgment, no commentary, and even no change in facial expression. Like, who does that? Vivine is that person. She is safety. She is protection. She is peace. And I'm sure that anyone who knows her well, family members, close friends, could definitely attest to that. Though outwardly she's quiet and quite subdued, Vivine possesses a willpower and determination that could topple mountains. When she sets her mind to a task or has a goal in mind, she forges ahead. She does not stop until she has achieved it. Life may throw obstacles in her path. Some obstacles may even be large enough to deter the mightiest of men, but Vivine remains unfazed. Many people, myself included, dream of one day writing a book. Vivine has taken her dream and turned it into 3. Hats off to you, Vivine. I'm so proud of you.
All right. And that's her friend Dominique. And what touching words. You know, they say that silent river runs deep. And that is Mrs. Willie. So now we're going to have our former co-worker, Pamela, who is going to say some warm words of congratulations to Mrs. Willie on this wonderful achievement. 3 books. And by the way, one of those books, I Feel Like Leah, is an Amazon best-selling book. And so we want you to go get these books and write reviews. So let's welcome Pamela to the stage.
Hi,
Welcome,
good evening. Thank you, thank you. I've known Vivian for quite some time now. We met actually when we were having lunch, and I noticed that she was eating vegetarian, and I was also eating vegetarian. And almost simultaneously, we said, "Are you Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist?" And we all agreed. So that was the spark of our relationship. I've known Vivian to be someone I can always depend on. We pray together. She's an honest person who will always tell you the truth. And as Dominique mentioned, she will always have no judgment at all. So I've learned to depend on Vivian for almost everything. If I go to her, I ask her something, and she says, "I don't think that should be how we should do it," I will stop right there. So being a mental health clinician myself, I really see her book, I Feel Like Leah. And then the second part of that book says, second place is not for me. So I actually use those. I have now a prayer group for women, and we are going to start a book club to read that as the first book that we are going to have. The book she wrote, the first one, which is My Head Is Not Well. Now working with patients, I actually use that line, and I say to patients, if you don't feel well, mental health is huge right now. If you don't feel well, recognize it and seek help before it goes to where now you have crisis and people have to make the decisions on you. So recognize when you're not well. Second place is not for me, because I've also struggled with self-esteem and abandonment. So since we are doing Mental Health Month, I'm glad, Ruth, you mentioned you've also struggled in your own ways. Vivine, you're encouraging all of us. Continue doing what you do. Just know I love you very much, and your strength is amazing. I can never ask for a better friend than you. Just know I love you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Pamela. You're bringing tears to my eyes. But it's so good when you know that you're not alone.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for sharing that. And that is so good. Let me see who else is here to give the good news. Oh, yes, Maritza, who is one of our longest best friends, is here to also convey her greetings. So thank you, Pamela, I'm going to add Marissa to the stage
Okay,
just
thank you.
now. Marissa, the stage is yours. Go ahead and
Thank-
let her know how wonderful she is and how proud you are of her. Go
Oh my
ahead.
goodness. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you. I could not miss this opportunity to kind of like support Vivine, who is, yes, we met in Brooklyn in the 11th grade, both of us newbies to the school, and just started, connecting right from there. And Vivine is my bosom buddy. We would get into trouble together, but I know Vivine to be so determined. She's such a go-getter. She's quiet, right? But she was always kind of quiet at school. But goes and gets what she wants, okay? And she knows what I'm talking about. But Vivine has a heart for helping people. She would help anybody. Her family, she's like the matriarch in her family, even though she's the younger sister, she's the matriarch. I remember one time when we were both teenagers, and Vivine is like, "Oh my gosh, we have to find an apartment for my mom," and we're like, "It's a blizzard. I mean, the the wind is blowing the snow. We can barely see. We're like forging our way through the snow, and we're going different places looking at apartments. And that's the kind of person Vivine is. She will not let no stop her. I'm sort of like that as well, but Vivine is like my my soulmate in that. Doesn't let things stop her. And I'm so amazed and proud of Vivine for everything that she's doing, these 3 books that she's written. Nothing stopping her. She's healing her own self. And I pray for her all the time. And I'm so grateful to be Vivine's friend from such a long time. I'm proud of you, Vivine.
Thank you so much, Maritza. And I'm sure she's happy to hear those words. Thanks again. All right, next up we have Alvarine to bring her greetings. Let's welcome Alvarine to the stage. She's also, Alvarine is a neighbor. So are you ready, Alvarine? Okay. I think you're coming up. While Alvarine gets ready, there's something that Pamela mentioned that Mrs. Willie and I spoke about just this week. We talked about getting her books into the hospital. And we were saying on your next trip to Jamaica, because Mrs. Willie is from Jamaica, I'm going to read a little bit more about her before she gives her talk. We were saying that when you visit next in August, it would be good if we could get some persons to buy the book and donate these books so that we can put them in the hospital. So to hear what Pamela is doing and the book club that she is starting, it is just a confirmation of the way that we want to go with this book. And so we're queuing up for 2 more persons. Perhaps we'll take them after. But let's start with I want to give you guys a taste of one of the books. I Feel Like Leah. Second place is not good enough. And I really like that book because it kind of speaks to me as most of us, one who has had a broken heart. And what she's promoting in that, is self-advocacy. And so while we wait on our other two contributors to give their endorsement, especially Mrs. Willie's daughter, Catherine, we want to give you, normally at a book launch, you have book readings and so forth. Well, we have a little reading for you in the form of a video, not in Mrs. Willie's voice, but from our publishing manager, Natalia, our creative lead who worked on this project. So enjoy this 2-minute clip and go get the book. It's on Amazon. Go get the book.
A year ago in her parents' native land of Jamaica. Anamar Hayes laid on the beach daydreaming as the cool seawater splashed on her legs and the gritty sand massaged her feet. The salty water of Ocean City Beach splashed on her lips and awakened her palate to a meal she enjoyed a year ago in her parents' native land of Jamaica. Saltfish fritters, yum! Anamar always fancied herself as a water baby and made time for the beach regularly in the summer months. In her opinion, this was an urban beach, framed by the high rises of Maryland. She would have preferred it to be flanked by verdant mountains, like in the Caribbean. It was around the magic hour when the sun kisses the horizon and the sky bursts into several hues of orange. She watched couples holding hands, kissing, swimming, and families enjoying picnics on the beach. As Anamar took in the romantic scene alone, her mind wandered about the man she would one day marry. Dating in Maryland is hopeful for a cute 23-year-old. She dated a few men, but just for fun. She could tell they didn't have any depth or the passion she desired in a husband. For about 6 months, Anamar dated one guy, Ben, who showed some promise. However, she ended it because they had nothing in common. He hadn't shown much interest in her teaching career or her aspirations. Truthfully, she wasn't feeling him either. It was only fair that they parted ways so she could go husband hunting unencumbered. As usual, she shared the details of the breakup with her little sister Amy. "I broke up with Ben last week," she said nonchalantly. To find out what happens next, get I Feel Like Leah, Second Place Is Not Enough. Now available on Amazon.
If you like that clip, put some fire in the chat or put some love notes in the comments area. And if you're a romance reader, this is a clean Caribbean romance novels, and it's one of the things that we publish at Bamboo Sparks. So Mrs. Willie is not just writing in one genre. Her first book, My Head Is Not Well, which was published several years ago and republished this year, is a poetry book, what we would call kind of like a poetic memoir, as she reflects on early childhood sexual abuse. And then I Feel Like Leah, Second Place Is Not Enough, is romance. And her third book, which we're launching today, Monsters Within, is a memoir. And this is nonfiction. So she writes poetry, fiction, and nonfiction. She has breadth and width, and she's been writing these very fast. 86% of people, the study show, want to write a book. 86% of Americans, but only 1% do. And Mrs. Willie has written, I think, 3 books in a year, and she has published 2 of them so far, and a third book is coming out in June. That's another fiction book, Woven in Blue, and I'm just blown away. I mean, I write fast, but the ordinary person who writes 3 to 4 books in a year, and especially with what she's going through, if you want to know what it is to be mentally tough, She is evidence that in spite of the crises that you're going through, the doctors gave her what, 4 months to live? I think she's on month 6 or 7, and I am trusting God that she's going to recover from cancer. But she's brave enough to tell her story, and to you, instead of falling into depression and giving up, she's using this time to produce something that will benefit others. When I just started writing, one of the things that I believe God was saying to me is that your books are for healing, and the leaves, the leaves are for the, like your books are like trees, and the leaves are for the healing of the nations. And even as she's going through her own struggles, she is investing in others, and I think that's worth celebrating. So send up some hearts, send up some hearts, send up some hearts. So before we bring on the lady of the moment, let's hear from her daughter, Catherine, who has been working with her and supporting her all this time. Welcome to the stage, Catherine.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited for my mom to get to this point where we're actually promoting her books now. Whenever I think about my mom, she is just like a ray of sunshine, but there's just so much depth to her and so much to learn from her. And we'll be able to see all of that in all three of her books. They all have and vibe or sense to them, but they're all very powerful in their different ways. And I'm just so proud of her. She is just like a mom to me, but also like a mom to others, because like Maritza said, she's very caring and always there for other people and looking for ways to just kind of show up and be there for them. And I hope that whoever reads the book gets a really good chance to kind of just learn more about her, and her story as well. And then a big part of her story is also just really hinting on that mental health aspect. And I work in the mental health realm as a psychiatrist. And some of the things that I can just see exemplified in my mom and also in her books is definitely resiliency, and also just learning how to be vulnerable about what you're feeling, and just sitting down with those different emotions that are coming up and feeling them, but not letting them paralyze you, learning from the different emotions, and then learning how to grow through the things that are coming up. So even though with her being sick with cancer, she's still getting up every day, still having a good attitude, practicing gratitude, and just showing that resiliency of regardless of what other people are saying, she's still gonna get up and live her life and be a go-getter. And she had a vision about I'm gonna write these books, and she's doing it. Just to show that within ourselves, we all have that strength to do these things, and to not let, the different trials that come up just beat us down, but instead learn how to grow through those things. So I think she, through her books and through her life, she's just a true testament, and I'm just so proud of her.
Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. You're here. You want to make me cry. But thank you so much for that. All right, so I'm gonna bring the lady of the hour to the stage shortly. So Vivi Willie was born in Jamaica and migrated to the US as a teenager. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in social work. She's the author, as you heard, of 3 published books, with 2 more in tow. My Head Is Not Well, I Feel Like Leah, and Monsters Within. She has worked as a social worker, with most of her career dedicated to supporting individuals with disabilities and mental illnesses. Vivi enjoys singing, reading, walking, and camping. She also values attending church and meeting with women for tea, lunch, and having discussions about health and other personal issues. Married with 4 adult children, 3 sons and 1 daughter, so the queen among the kings, Vivi cherishes family time and traveling. She attributes her success to her faith and trust in God. Vivi was inspired to write this book, this one particularly, Monsters Within, to offer hope to those battling cancer and their loved ones. It's also a gift to her family and a tool to advocate for better medical care for people of color. And I just read about the author from her third published book, Monsters Within, a memoir on dealing with cancer. So, welcome back to the stage, Mrs. Willie.
Yes.
How do you feel hearing all of those tributes this evening?
I also wanted to cry, but I'm keeping it together. Keeping it together. But I'm very thankful for all those who came on, to just contribute to me and to say those nice things. But I'm feeling
Awesome.
pretty good right now.
Very good. And you are so courageous and resilient. And Catherine basically gave us a synopsis. For those of us who are going through life's challenges, life is tough. I think it's in the book of Job. It says, "Man born to a woman is subject to sorrow." You know, we can't escape sorrow. And crises, sorrows, apart from if you have some hormonal issues, it's often the crises and the challenges of life that often throw us in a tailspin and affect our mental health. Talk to us. How do we become like you to stay mentally healthy despite all the trauma that we go through in life? Talk to us about tips to be a mentally healthy person.
Yeah, so I'm going to say the first thing is God. I cannot forget about God. God is the one that has guided me, you know, all my life. Even when I did not know, He was there guiding me. I realized as I got older, I said, how did I get here after all those crazy things that I did? Like Maris, I said, walking around, in blizzard and, at times hitchhiking and doing crazy things that I didn't know were crazy at the time. So God was there for me, guiding and protecting me. Even when I wasn't praying, He was there for me. So I have to put God as the center, that as is a part of my life that I cannot live without. And the second thing is having hope. After seeing, how God has guided and protected me, and after learning to pray, seeing how He has answered my questions and just, you know, giving the protection over me and my family and others I've been praying for, because one of the things I do is I like to, pray for others. And so I have a prayer box and I would write people's name down so that I remember to pray for them. And, I've seen where people would say that, you're praying for me and I can feel that. And that is why, I said having hope because of those things that I've been through and how God has brought me through them. So we should never give up hope. Um, and the third thing I would say is, when we're going through things, is to get professional help. I went to see several therapists, and I believe that something that we need because sometimes we need a little medication. So we need to be diagnosed. Then might need a little medication to take the edge of if we are because of anxiety or whatever it is we are going through, or just someone to listen to us. Um, you know, we need someone to, like Dominique was saying, who will just listen, who will just keep her mouth shut and just listen let that person talk. And while they're talking, they can figure things out. We don't always have to say something because when you are a good listener, people need someone who is a good listener. And so I feel that seeing a therapist, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist is very important during a part of my issues and helping me through this. And the next thing is just having friends. As you can see, my friends, they are there for me. And when I am anxious, and when I have to go to the doctor and I feel sad, they will call me and said, Vivine, I'm praying for you. Everything is going to be okay. And that helps. And they also cook for me and bring food over. Like when I called Alvin, I was very sick last week, and I called her and I said, I'm not feeling well, and my husband wasn't here. And I thought she was cooking because she cooks for those who are shut in. And she said, Vivian, just tell me what you want. She didn't tell me she wasn't doing it that weekend because it was Mother's Day. She said, just tell me what you want. And I told her, and she cooked it for me, even though she was not cooking for others. And just Maritza and Dominique, and I have to say Gloria, all of these others were there calling me all the time and just checking on me to make sure that I am okay. And you know, having a good friends really is important. Just someone to be there to talk to. And I would have to say the next thing that is very important is praying. I used to pray a lot. I would be in before going to work, 5:30, I would be in my prayer room praying. But then after I had surgery, somehow I didn't pray that much. I don't know why. I stopped praying so much. And, you know, I was still, I still found that God was there for me. And it was because my friends, my church family, they were praying for me. They were interceding for me. God knew I didn't have the strength. There were times when I feel sad and I would just lay in bed and, someone was there praying because I would just jump up and say, thank you, God, I'm alive. I can walk, I can talk, I can see. Someone was there praying for me when I am not able to pray. So just, keep praying for yourself. And when you're not able to, you ask others to pray for you, and they will pray for you. And I think those are some of the things that, kept me and is keeping me right now, keeping my mental health and keeping me going, even when I'm going through this, difficult phase where I just said, the doctor gave me 4 to 6 months to live, and I passed that 6 month period. It wasn't the doctor's choice, it's God, it's up to God. And all of those friends and family were praying for me. Yes. So continue, yes, to pray for me. And I would just say to others, have your friends and your family pray for you.
Excellent. And faith is really a key thing to carry us through when we are going through these difficult times. And I know definitely it's my faith that keeps me going. So I can attest to that. When I had what I call the dark night of my soul, and I felt like giving up, because I remember saying to God, I hate you for doing this to me. And I was throwing my tantrum, and I was like, I don't think I want to continue living. And it was me reaching out to my circle of friends. One of my mentors is a psychologist. And so when I was going through that difficult period, I reached out to him, and he prayed for me. And this was all long distance. So the person doesn't even have to be there. This was reaching out via email and social media messaging to say, Pops, I'm going through a hard time right now. I'm not at a good place. Some persons can't handle that, but he had the wisdom. And his words have forever shaped my life. And he said, you are loved, prized, and valued. And he typed out a particular prayer over me. And that really helped, as part of the turning point. So I can personally testify with the tips that you've shared, having friends, establishing a support system. And even if you don't have many friends, just having even one person. In the book of Ruth, when Naomi was going, both of them were dealing with loss, but it was Ruth that stayed with Naomi and helped to give her hope. And the first time the word hope is mentioned in scripture is in the book of Ruth, and Naomi, having faced the losses and everything, and she felt God's hand was against her. She said, if I think I might still have hope, she felt hopeless. But here was one friend, her daughter-in-law, Ruth, who was there to journey with her. So the prayer, the having the friends and the support, we are not just saying theory. This is what is working for you. This is what has worked for me. And so if you're watching this on the replay or live, as you go through the storms of life, don't do it by yourself. Reach out to somebody, and that will help you. And you may be angry with God, but keep talking to God, pray, and help will come. I'm particularly interested in this book, though, Mrs. Willie, Monsters Within,
Mm-hmm.
a memoir on dealing with cancer. Why Monsters Within?
Um,
The title.
because of all of the tumors. I have so many tumors, or 50 tumors on my liver. So I just call them monsters. I said, where did these monsters come from? So
50.
that's for the title, 50 tumors on my liver. Yes.
You're a walking miracle. 50.
50, yes. Catherine
Wow.
counted them and said, you have 50 tumors. I know the doctors were saying that you have a lot more than we have seen in others. And that's why you're having all of these, difficulties. That's why your bilirubin is not working, because it's not because of all of the tumors squeezing. Yes. So it's not able to let out the bile out of the liver. So the bile is stuck right there. And so the bilirubin is not able to work because of
Wow.
all those tumors squishing everything.
Yeah. Wow. I
Yes.
know you said your faith, your prayer, and your friends keep you going, but when you heard the doctor's diagnosis and their prognosis, what went through your mind?
I think I blacked out. I
Keep
was
it
not.
real.
I blacked out. I was not expecting that. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to get up. I felt dizzy. I started sweating. But I said, if I get up, my legs are going to buckle and I'm going to fall on the ground. So I stayed there. I tried looking at the doctor, and it's just like there was a light and I just could not see his face. And I think it was maybe a minute or so that I suppose God intervened. And I said, okay. And I said, thank you. And then I said, Harold, let's go. I understand, what I have to do. But yes, I was in shock when the doctor told me that I had 4 to 6 months.
And how long is it now since they told you that?
It was November 7th that I met with the doctor, and now it is the 15th
Yeah,
of
of May. So
May,
that's November, December, January, February, March, April, May.
past that 6 month period.
6 months. God
Yes.
is good. What would you say to families or husbands, wives, just families? How when they hear this, the doctors pronounce the big C or diagnose it. What would be your words of encouragement or comfort to them going through it yourself?
Mhm.
What what would be your word to them?
Yes, they stopped treating me. Basically, there was nothing else they could do. So I said, I went to God and I said, God, I want you to take over. I want you to guide me and show me what to do. So I said, God is in control. So I would tell them that God is in control, not man. The doctors don't know everything, but God does know the beginning and from the end. And so we should rely. So I should tell them to rely on God. I relied on God, and look where I'm at right now. I'm still here talking, and I feel stronger today than I did even then. So, just turning to God and just praying and just relying on God to take over and guide me and show me what to do, which is what I asked. I said, show me what to do, God.
Yeah,
And He did.
I love that. And that's why I want to encourage persons. I know it's 3 books. My head is not well. I feel like Leah. But this one, because this is such an issue that affects everybody, I want to encourage you to get this book, give it as gifts to families going through this with a loved one diagnosed with cancer, carry to the hospitals. I was saying to Mrs. Willie this week that Adam Stewart, Butch Stewart's son, wife passed away from cancer, and she was health conscious, just like Miss Willie. But they had a recent run in Montego Bay in honor of her because she was into exercise and fitness. And I was saying, you know, it would be good if we could get these books so that the next time they're having this run, we could hand out this book to everybody who is running. And that would be a good dream come true. But hospitals everywhere, cancer support groups, families, and it is small, you know, and it is so encouraging as you hear what she goes through. And one of the things is that she's not writing in a boring way. She writes as if it is a novel. And so you are engaged. And one of the things she says in the book is that I am not on man's time. I am on God's time. And I found that that was so powerful. My final question, and you've held up, I'm not hearing you coughing.
Yes.
Is why books? Why is it so important for you to chronicle these experiences in a book? I want to understand it because we've had other clients. I remember one of our clients, she passed away, diagnosed with cancer, but it's when she was diagnosed with cancer that she started her writing journey. And we published one book. The second book is coming out now, but even in her last moments, she was still working on a book. What is it about a book? Why a book? What's the big deal? You know?
I
Talk
feel that,
to
you
us.
know, we have this knowledge. I feel that God gave me this information and I shouldn't keep it to myself. I need to share it. And you know, by sharing, I help others to see that they're not alone, that we're going through the same thing, might be different things, but we are going through the same struggle, yeah, with mental health, with health issues. And keeping it to myself was, I believe, selfish. So I said, I'm going to write it. I'm going to get it published because I want to help others. And as a social worker, my goal um, is always to help. Even now, I'm still trying to help. If someone said they need something, I said, okay, I'm going to find a way to do it. So, you know, it's just helping others. It's our way, my way, I believe, of helping others by writing things down and sharing it.
And that's excellent because, you know, books are like forever. And books offer help. So if you're out there thinking of writing a book or you want to pass on things, a book is the way to go. It's a way to offer help, hope, and healing because there is something actually called bibliotherapy where people use books, and the psychiatrist, psychologist, in reading it, these stories, it really does offer help, hope, and healing. And so I want to encourage you again to go get the books, go donate after buying the book, leave a review on Amazon. Just type in her name and all the books will come up. My Head Is Not Well, the poetic, that's a memoir. Um, the poetic memoir. I Feel Like Leah, second place is not enough. That is the romance novel. And this one, Monsters Within. And then she's having two more books are coming out, three more books, I think. Well, two here. Woven in Blue, a novel about an adopted young woman who unexpectedly finds true love with someone from a different background, although they both share a passion for the outdoors, camping, country living, and more. So if you like romance, and I think this is another Caribbean romance, right, Mrs. Willie?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Awesome. And then there's another one that she's working on. You never call me by my name. And that's a story about the relationship with her dad and the painful realization that he never called her by her name, not even a pet name. Instead, he used a derogatory name that caused her to shut down emotionally and struggle with low self esteem. And then she says, these books are my legacy. And while I continue to wrestle with the monsters within, I will continue to write each day and trust God to guide me. And I will give him praise as I traverse this path of life. Thank you so much for this valuable contribution to the world, Miss Willie, and for showing us what it is to be mentally healthy despite what we're going through. So now I'm going to take the comments and the from our audience. And now it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions to ask of Mrs. Willie, now is the time to do that. So I think this is Madonko says, congratulations on your book launch. We'll continue praying for you and looking forward to reading your books. Cheryl, I think this is my Cheryl. Morgan in Canada says, congratulations on your books. Matt says, it is really sad when we learn we have a major illness, but after some time we accept and learn to live with it and do our best to deal with it. That's what Sister is doing, and it's a great thing. Let's read some other comments. Remember, you can drop your comments in the chat, show some love, or if you have a question or two, we have 9 more minutes to close out the show. And he says, that's absolute truth. When we write, we discover wonders and we want to share it, just like God is telling. Share your knowledge and you will be much better. And this is what we do when we publish a book. And then, of course, our daughter, Catherine, is saying, congratulations, so proud of you. Matt again says, you will feel much better, and we feel exactly blessed that we could write such good books. Congratulations on your books, my sister. Dominique says, what a legacy, Vivi. Let me bring that one on the screen. What a legacy, Vivian. God bless you, and thank you for blessing the world with your story and your books. Lakeisha says, you are a picture of faith. Thank you, God. Thank you, and God bless you. I think Alberine is on now, so we're going to let her give the final tribute, and then we're going to close out. Mrs. Willie, you are so courageous. You are encouraging me, looking on. Like I said, you are the epitome of being a mentally healthy person because you're facing all of these battles and you are resilient. And like you say, you're on God's time, not man's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth.
Congratulations again.
Yes.
All right, Alvarine, welcome
Yes.
to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Vivi, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And congratulations. Vivian is a good person, and I just want to support her. She's sweet. One thing about Vivian, she's a God fearing woman. She fears God. And everything she thinks about, she goes to God first, knowing that He's going to see her through. She's not a warrior. She gives everything to the Lord because she loved the Lord so much. Sometimes I go by her home and sit and talk with her, and she just keep that smile. And she said, "God, it's God's will. Whatever wills He have for me, I'm okay with that." So, Vivian, congratulations again. You're doing a good job. You're looking great. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to serve God and to put Him first in your life. Congratulations again.
I'm not sure what's happening.
Uh,
She's not on stage. All right. Thank you so much. And with that, that's a wrap. We want to say again, congratulations to Mrs. Willie. I'm going to put back the 3 books on the screen and encourage you all to go get the books. My head is not well. I feel like Leah. Second chance, second place is not enough, and monsters within. And I believe everybody can relate to monsters within. Her husband, yes, I have to show this comment. He says, I'm amazed by your courage and strength every day. You strengthen me. Love you. Ooh, that's so nice. Final one, as we close out. I feel honored that I was invited to join this forum. Everything said about this warrior is true. Love you much, Glow Bramble. All right, so we're gonna end again with Dominique's words, but just to have the images of the 3 books on the screen. So thank you all for coming. Spread the word, get the book. We want to give away copies of these books, especially Monsters Within, to hospitals everywhere. So I want to challenge you. Can we give away 1 million copies of these books? Let's do it to bring help, hope, and healing to those who are hurting and help them to stay mentally healthy. Remember, there's no good health without good mental health. Bye, everybody.
When I think of Vivi, the first word that comes to my mind is strength.